Hi everyone. Oh, I'm not going to introduce myself. Luke.
No, you're not. You've cut my grass there, Jerry. Welcome everybody.
Thank you. Are you going to show us your lovely face tonight?
Well, I could actually. I should, and I could. But can I do the introduction just voice? Is that suitable?
That's fine.
All right. Well, tonight the wonderful Jerry is presenting, creating that warm, gooey love for your customers.
Thank
now
you.
I shall share my.
Jeez, Luke, you got a lot of practice to do, man. But no.
I shall share my face.
Oh, there we are. Yeah, I've got the beard going. You're rocking the beard. Go on.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it. It takes a bit for me to grow a beard, but
well, it's good because if you didn't have a beard at the moment, otherwise you could be confused for an Easter egg at the moment.
I'd take that as long as it's Lindt, not Cadbury. You know, I'm a refined individual.
Yeah.
Just remember to get the photos. This could be some great album cover territory. A beard that no one ever sees again.
No, I'll keep growing it. I'm in isolation, so I'll only expose my family to this unkept look.
And the rest of the world via Zoom and Facebook. Cool.
Right. Cool.
Thank you for the introduction, Luke. Yes, tonight I just thought I'd go with the chocolate theme, that warm, gooey feeling, and creating that for your customers. And as we've all probably had a little bit too much chocolate tonight. And the reason why, sorry, corona cough. The reason why I chose this topic is because, and Alistair and I have talked about this a lot, is this product called Send Out Cards. And it's just one of the things that actually it made me sort of turn my business, when I was really focusing just on marketing and not videos, it really made me go down the whole stream of relationship marketing and what does that mean. And I was hoping Dia Bartlett would come in on the call tonight. I did text her, but she hasn't got back to me. She's probably watching Netflix. Thanks, Dia. But Dia introduced me to Send Out Cards, and she's the queen of it. And basically, it's just one of these fantastic ways to keep in contact with people by sending out cards in the mail to them. And it's just such a point of difference. But one of the best things that I learnt through joining Send Out Cards was this whole concept of relationship marketing. And one of my favorite things to share when explaining about relationship marketing to people is the leaky bucket. And the leaky bucket is actually where you've got it's like your funnel basically, and you're putting your customers in, putting them in, you're paying all this money to constantly get new customers, because we all know, if you don't know, it costs 10 times more money to attract new customers than it does to retain customers. So you're spending all this money getting them into the top of your bucket, and then your bucket just starts springing leaks here, there, everywhere, and you start putting band-aids on, you start putting more band-aids on, and it's still leaking. It creates more and more leaks, and you don't know what to do about it. And so if you think about a business that's a real transactional based sort of business, and they're just looking for more and more sales all the time, and they don't know why they're not getting repeat business and why people are leaving them and things like that, it's because they're not nurturing their customers. And you know, this is one of the reasons, again, why I even started calling myself the Nurture Queen, or someone came up with that name for me, because I was so passionate about getting people to really think about how they do nurture their customers. And you know, I often will go to a networking event or something like that, and sometimes I'll ask people, you know, how many times you actually said to your customers thank you this year? And usually you get a silent room, and people think about it, and they go, you know what, I don't think I have actually thanked my customers. Maybe I'll do something once a year or reach out. Or I'm like, oh yeah, what what did you do when you reached out to them? And they're like, I sent them a letter telling them about my services. And I'm like, so it was a sales letter, was it? Oh yeah, but you know, I was reaching out, and I'm sure I asked them, you know, hope you're having a great year or something like that. So when people nail it down, you know, really nail it down a little bit further, they realize that they're not doing any kind of nurturing. They haven't set up any kind of system to nurture their customers. And you know, when you do stop and think about your own experiences and what makes you go back to a place, you know, what is it that does make you go back somewhere? So there is a statistic that actually says that 68% of customers, they actually leave due to a perceived indifference. So what does that mean? It just simply means that they'll go somewhere else because they don't think you care about them, and they won't move on. Well, a much smaller percentage move on price than you think. So there's a tiny percentage that'll move because they're dead. So they're not dead. They haven't moved at all. A very small percentage, like 3%, will move on price. And there's a few other percentages there thrown in for other small sort of things. But yeah, nearly 70% will actually change business because they just think you don't care about them, and that you know that people will think, oh well, they're not going to notice if I go somewhere else, so who cares? So that was the topic that I just wanted to bring up as a quick conversation starter tonight. Luke, I know that you could probably chime in on some really cool things here about customer retention and things that you've done to keep your customers happy. You know, I've got friends that run businesses like Carmel from Hampers and Things. You know, so she's all about trying to get businesses to thank their customers and give that wow factor when she delivers her hampers, that she's really thought about what the customer wants and everything like that. But it's not just about sending Christmas cards and birthday cards and hampers and other things like that. You know, there's a whole lot more that goes into it. But have you got any examples, Luke, of the kinds of things that you do?
Yeah, look, and yeah, it's really well said. I think sometimes we get so busy we can neglect our customers, and whether they're our ideal customers or not. I think just having something on autopilot or rinse and repeat, like you said, I'd love for you to share that link too, because we've always done it manually. So after we've got a certain criteria, a certain project's worth X amount, so we'll send out a card. So we've always just used like a local mail house.
Yeah.
We've just had a heap of, you know, thank you cards there that I've signed up, and they'll send them out once a month. It definitely does work. So if there's something out there that's automated and people should be using, it's different than email, which is great. But, you know, phone calls always good too. I always like to back it up, especially with good jobs that have gone really well or good projects, to say, hey, g'day, just touching base, to make sure you're happy with everything. It takes a bit of guts too. A lot of people just want to move on with the next sort of project or job. But in doing that, it serves a few purposes actually, which I've found. Number one, if there's any issues with the work or the job and there's non-payment, it's sorted out very quickly just with that phone call. Number two, shows that you care. And even when there is an issue, sometimes they just want to be heard, you know, so it might be like, oh, I didn't really like, you know, the colour of this against the wall. And you're like, well, this is the reason why, ... Cool. Their answers, you know, their questions are answered. They pay their bill. They felt looked after. But also then you can lead in, we've got automated canned responses that we send to clients. As an example, g'day Russell, lovely to chat to you. Glad you're happy with the job. Here's some links to our Google business page, Facebook or LinkedIn. Would you mind leaving a review? Now that's a pretty hot review. Like it's like 80% sort of, you know, success rate. When you contact clients like that, they're more likely to give you a review. So there's many sort of tear down effects. But with the cards, I've had calls from clients that, you know, sort of 2 years down the track, hey, I got your card, it's on my desk and I thought I'd better ring you. So it definitely does work, and it definitely is a point of difference.
Yeah, even just that. Yeah, I mean, yes, huge point of difference. You know, a postcard you send is 100% open rate. You know, there's a
yeah,
stat.
compared, spot on. Yeah, good stat. Yeah,
compare that to an email. You know, where you're lucky to get 0.2% open rate or something like that.
Yeah.
But even just sending an envelope that, you know, sort of got this, you know, handwritten almost look to it. It almost looks handwritten, the font that they use and everything like that. And people are like, what's this? I'm getting mail, and it's not a bill. It's clearly not a bill, you know. And you know, what the hell is this all about? I used to actually create a campaign at Christmas time, and I do the whole letter from Santa thing, and always had such a great response from people getting those kids for the cards for their kids. So, and at the moment, Dia's offering to send out to your kids. At the moment, it's like a certificate for congratulations for staying at home kind of thing. You know, you're doing really great kind of certificate.
You're not going mad.
Yeah. So she just asked for a picture of your kids and their names, and she's going to send them a card in the mail. I think that's really nice. But it is really important to constantly think about, you know, what kind of different things you can, what you can do for your customers. And I think just simply the first and best thing is picking up the phone and just saying, hey, were you happy with the job? Or I guess it depends what you're doing. So it's different if you're like Alistair and you're business coaching versus Luke, you're sending out and installing a sign or something like that, and you might not necessarily see them at that final point or anything like that. And you know, asking how it was, and I think even just part of that conversation is these days the best time to be asking for reviews as well. So especially if you think you're going to get a good one, you know, asking people, that's the right time to get them to leave Google and Facebook reviews and things like that. And just going above and beyond. Like, I think one of the best compliments you can pay a client is to actually refer them to someone else. So I think referrals are just such a great way to say, hey, I've got faith in you, my customer. So, you know, one of my biggest customers is a builder, and I've just referred all sorts of people to him. You know, I've connected him with all sorts of people in the business community, and you know, referred business to him, and he just knows how well connected I am and everything like that. But he sees that as, I think, one of the best ways that I can thank him, besides a bottle of wine at Christmas or something, is through all these introductions. And he knows that he can just ring me up and say, hey Jerry, who do you know that does this? And he knows that I'll know someone. So I always think that referrals to someone else is one of the biggest ways that you can compliment them and thank them, and everything like that. So
definitely.
Yeah, Alistair, have you got anything that you'd like to add about the customer care factor?
Did you see unmuting me? Could you?
No, I didn't see unmuting. Okay. No.
So, look, I'm going to shout out to Glenn Twiddle.
Yeah.
So he's a master coach in the real estate space.
Yeah.
In Australia, and he does a little bit of work overseas as well. He was my coach for a while. He coached me through real estate and then into becoming a business coach myself. And he had the most success with me at that point because my heart was in it.
Yeah.
So Glenn, you know, his real specialty is, as he would say, wearing people down. So he says it publicly. He always punches above his weight with women because he wears them down. So, he does the same with his customers, and so what he advocates for is I can't really use his word, but it's like this whole tool chest of communication. And, as an example, if we use the real estate experience as an example, the sort of top achieving real estate agents that work with him, they'll grab someone's phone number, email address, as they're coming in the door. And then, as they're leaving a property for an open, they'll be getting a text. So they inspect the property and they're already getting a follow-up as they're leaving the property.
Yeah.
And then they'll get another call at the end of the day. And then there's a whole stream after that. And the stream can include, video via email, video via text, cards, lumpy mail. So different sort of gifts or trinkets or fun things in the mail.
Yeah.
You talked about the 100% open rate of a postcard. Well, not only does lumpy mail get open 100% of the time, but with excitement.
Yeah.
Someone sees a parcel on the desk, they can't wait to rip into it.
Yeah.
Having your own book. Exactly what you said before, Luke. It's like if someone has something they can put on their bookshelf or on their desk that has some sort of meaning, then they might refer to that in future. And there's so many more. You could brainstorm for 15 minutes and probably come up with, 20 to 30 different ways easily to stay in touch with people. So, what Glenn's addressing with that is the notion that as human beings, many forms of contact are now overused. We are overwhelmed. And so it's about breaking through that with different forms.
Yeah. And it's well said. I think, especially in that space, it's all automated now. It doesn't matter which agency you go to. They're all the same. As soon as you leave, you get a text. There'll be a standard follow-up call, on the Monday. But I think I think some of the key points is the faster you can get to your ideal client, like cut through the bullshit, the better you'll be. And it's not always just about generating leads. People will do business with people that they feel comfortable with and that they trust. We've lost even big deals. Well, not lost, but, we've been beaten out on bigger projects. And, the person said, it just comes down to price on this one. I said, yep, cool. If you need anything else, let me know. If you want me to have a look at, the contract that, you're signing or, you know what I mean, some of the details, I'm happy to have a look at it for you, flag anything. And they appreciate that. I've had 2 and 3 calls even after the project to say, look, we've got another one coming up. We'd really like to work with you. We know how you work. And, and that's for me is like an ideal client. So, it's not about numbers. It's more about focusing in on that person that we, align with. They trust us. We trust them. They pay their bills. They know that we deliver what we say we're going to deliver. And they're the relationships you really want to nurture. But when you start a business, it's like, well, cool. So we'll just, it's a wide net, right?
Yeah.
But as you refine and develop, you want to stick with those ones and nurture those ones that you really, align with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I was just doing a little bit of Googling before, and I just always like to see what the latest blogs are about these things like nurturing customer relationships. And the number one on this one list was to use analytics to develop the perfect personas. And, that's all about the more you know about your potential customers, the more successfully you'll be able to develop meaningful relationships with them. And I think I totally agree with that because, again, this is all about building, like and trust and everything like that. And this is about on a more deeper level, depending on how many types of customers you're dealing with, but just learning about them personally is one of the quickest ways to, learn about their family or something like that. So Even Ivan Meisner, who's the founder of BNI, he says in one of his podcasts how he always tries to, he'll try to ask personal questions, and he'll purposely try and remember those things about those people, because often that's when the best relationships are formed. So, he'll always go, oh, so how's the kids? Yep. Okay, great. Oh yeah, Bobby and Susie. Oh, are they in college yet? Or are they in high school yet? Like he really, really emphasizes that, if you can try and remember these personal facts about the people that you're dealing with, then they just feel like that you really care about them. And, the more you know about them, the easier it is. Basically, it feels a bit more like a personal relationship rather than a business relationship. So, again, I guess it depends on how many customers you're dealing with. If you're dealing with thousands of customers, then this is a harder thing to do. But they're obviously saying using Google Analytics can help you with your marketing. So your Google Analytics might be telling you, or other analytics might be telling you that, 53% of your customers love cats or something. Like it might know that from their Facebook data or something like that. So you might start putting out cute cat videos or something like that, because that a lot of your customers like that. So, always be thinking about what you can do to be looking at what your audience is into, and, hang out where your audience hangs out as well. So, one of the girls that I network with is really big on that, in hanging out where her target audience is hanging out. And although her target audience now her daughter is now 4.5, but her target audience is where she was 4 years ago when her baby was very young. She still hangs out in those things, and she creates, she's created a Facebook group for new mums and all this kind of stuff, because she needs to stay top of mind with these new mums all the time. And luckily for her, people keep having babies. But she's just like, hang out where your customers are hanging out. And I think that's great advice. Or you're always sort of staying on top of what the topics are and everything like that too, then if you're doing that. Yeah. The next thing this email says is, send personalized relevant emails. Well, I say boo to emails. I'm not a big fan of them. I personally don't read any email if I think it has been mass sent. Occasionally I'll catch myself nearly missing an email from someone that normally sends me mass emails, and I'm about to hit delete, and then I go, oh, actually this was a real email to me, as I call it. Sometimes I warn people, can you word your emails slightly different to me if you actually really, really want my attention? I don't want to tell them I delete all your other emails, but anyway, so it's just, but there's so many other ways that you can have personalized content to people besides emails, such as cards and the lumpy mail and phone calls. And for me, I love personalized videos. So sometimes I'll just sit there on Messenger or LinkedIn, and I'll just make a little 30-second video to someone. It's a great way to stand out in a thread too on Facebook. So if someone has said, looking for recommendations on a blah blah, if someone was looking for a videographer, well, who's going to stand out? Probably the person that sends a video and says, hi, Sally, I'd love to meet you. My name's Jerry, blah, 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 blah. Compared to the people that just type, hi, PM.
Yeah. No, video is a great one. We do that. We use, I use, is it Castify? I think it's called. It's like a Chrome plugin. Yeah. Nice and easy. And because we do a lot of proposals, so ours is very visual, being signage.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got a great project. It doesn't always come across in email, So I'll record a quick sort of 3-minute video, and I'll bring up some of the visuals, say, hey, I think we should look at this. This is an example of the finish. And that's quite often given us the edge where people have said, wow, love it. I got it straight away.
Yeah.
As opposed to just sort of a standard email with some info guides and images. So yeah, video, especially if you're in, I don't know, what would you say? There's many different industries where you need to sort of get across your message visually to sell the job. Could be construction as well. Cabinet makers, builders. Hey, I think we should do this, ... And a short video shows that you care. And it's not hard to do. Like, it kind of looks pretty cool too. People are like, oh, wow, they've taken the time to do this, but it really doesn't take a lot. So there's a lot of, upside to it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the other things that this article mentions is being social and actually being very, very quick at responding to comments about your business on social media, especially if you've had any negative comments for some reason, to actually tackle it very quickly. And because people do expect a response on social media within about 30 minutes, and a slightly higher percentage expect it within the hour, basically, of some kind of comment on social media. They expect a response. So some of the examples I've seen, the best way to tackle with a bad comment is to say something like, if it was a restaurant or something, I'm really sorry that you had this experience. Please, we'd love you to come in and have a chat about this to us face to face, so that we can sort this out in person and take it offline, kind of thing. Because the last thing you want is for an argument to happen on social media and that it goes further. So they're saying just tackle it straight away, apologize, say I'd love to talk to you about this face to face and blah blah blah, and don't try and defend yourself unless there's something very, very defendable to do, such as, oh, sorry, we couldn't help you tonight, we were actually closed, or something like that. But the worst thing you can do is actually get really defensive and start arguing with someone on social media. So it's always
smart
good
ways to deal with it.
Yeah, and to say that we actually do really appreciate feedback, and but I'd love to talk to you about your personal experience directly with you yourself. So I think that's that's a good one. And the last thing this article says is that you should aim to retain. So again, like I said, it costs 10 times more money to bring in new customers than it does to keep old customers, and repeat customers actually spend 67% more than new customers. So yeah, it's really important to always be thinking about, what can I do to keep customers? How can I keep them happy? And the good old research, research marketing, market research, things like that. Asking people what do they want, what's important to them, what kinds of things would you like to see from my business offering or pricing, or what do you think we should be doing? Just ask people about it, and you'd be surprised what they'll tell you. And sometimes it's even best to even get someone else to ask it for you, because if you're the owner of the business, they might not necessarily speak to you about it. But they will speak to a stranger or a subordinate or something about it. They're more likely to be more forthcoming. So doing a bit of market research, I think, is a really good way to find out what people really think about you, and reward them for their time. Like sending them a voucher or putting them into the draw to win something, and just really letting them know that we really do appreciate your feedback. And the reason why we want you to be brutally honest is because we're always striving to make things better and improve them. So that's
there's probably one other big thing in this space that, my sister in our real estate business has definitely subscribed to this all of her career, and me and my business partner have, and we are one quite large business as a result. And what it comes down to is, in the early days, we were mates. We've been mates 30 years, business partners for 20 years, and the number of times we heard, oh, you shouldn't do business with family and friends, and we used to sort of mess around with that and like, oh yeah, it'd be better to do it with enemies, wouldn't it? Like that'd be much more fun. But what we did with it was actually just say, well, actually, business is a vehicle for our life and that of our family, and it's where we spend a lot of our time. And actually, we want to be doing that with people we can call friends. And it does not mean that every customer has to be a friend. It's not like, oh, you've got to be a friend to do business with us. Now, you could set that rule in your business if you want to. But, our preference was to be able to do business with people that we could call friends. Whether that's partners, customers, it didn't matter, And as a result, my business partner, he has a relationship with, like, some extremely senior people in the telecoms industry in Australia.
Yeah.
Just because he just treated them like people and like a friend would.
Yeah, and that's really it's a good point, Al. And I think focusing on those clients that that you don't have to sort of always sell to. It's a bit more of a natural, easygoing transaction. It almost doesn't feel like a sale. But as Jerry said, that consistent those consistent touch points, whether they're automated, mail, email, phone, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing it. You'll evolve and you'll get to those ideal clients, because you can, the cost acquisition for a new client, especially in our industry, it could be sort of $5 a lead. But if we can have good things in place like pre-qualification, guides and stuff like that to sort of just pre-qualify clients before they even hit our system, that's a really smart way to do it. And someone said to me, and he's very, very successful, and he said the faster you can get to that ideal client, and he goes, it doesn't matter if you're abrasive, man. He just said, no tie kickers, no time wasters. And this guy's sending texts like, if we are doing business, this is what it is. You know what I mean? I appreciate your time. If it's not, that's cool. I just want to, know so you can move on quicker. And, it either is or it isn't. And I was like, wow. And, I've met some people like that in the real estate space as well, that really just get to the point straight away. And it's a really great way to do it. So, but that takes time. When you're a new business, you'll do all and sundry, and then you'll start to work out that there's some clients out there that they're good earners, but gee, they're hard to deal with. Yeah, might be someone else's problem. It might be that time to just sort of, point them in another direction, and that's okay too. But yeah, all of these points and tips that we've spoken about tonight are of benefit, and you find your ideal client and work towards them. But very important that you want to have a select few. Your top 10, phone rings, that's who you speak to, straight away. Email comes in, that's who you respond to. And they'll be your cash cow. And I tell you, that's your top 10 in any business. I tell my staff too, we've got a top 5, top 3, and even our 1. So if something happens, they call, you're on. Yeah. And that's what we're known for. Yeah. And it starts to create that moat, that love, rather than spreading it, and casting that net too wide.
Yeah. It says here, because 86% of customers will pay more for a better customer experience.
Of course they will. So, and for a better product all day long. Yeah.
Well, and it's another thing, Jerry, we've got to remember we're customers too. And I'm one of those ones that, like if I'm in a restaurant and I'm not happy, I'll suck it up and I'll leave, and then I'll be unhappy and I won't go back. And I'm not saying that's good. That's just how I am. But the communication, Luke really nailed it before. It's like he has a process and a system that ensures that he's got the best opportunity to find problems before they expand,
Yeah.
and to ensure that he gets paid.
Yeah.
And that's powerful for him in his business, and it does lead to benefits to the customer.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's well said. One of my first jobs, sorry to jump in there, Jerry, but
That's all right.
one of my first jobs in business out of my own was for a printer, a great guy down in Cheltenham, lovely guy. And I said, all right, we'll do this banner. And anyway, we got there, did the job, and, I really took my time to get the design right, etc. And then I put this banner up out the front of his shop, and he said, oh, I don't like the colour. I said, what do you mean? You signed off on it. He said, I don't like the colour.
Oh, have we lost you, Luke?
I certainly have. I got you though, Jerry.
Yeah, okay. If it's not just me then. It was all about the colour. It must have been the wrong.
Yeah.
So is he still connected, or you can't see?
He's
still
back.
there.
You're still
I'm
here?
back.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
back. It was the wrong colour. What did you do?
Yeah, well, I just said, well, what do you mean you signed off on it? He said, well, I'm just not happy with it in the flesh. And I said, well, I was sort of like, well, I'll make it right. I'll do this. I'll do that. And that's all these things that went through my head. And then something came to me and just said, just stand, just take the banner down, because this guy's just trying it on, and that was a precipice about making sure the clients are happy. Because I know that 110% I gave my all, and it actually looked really good. And there's some people that you just can't please. But yeah, I got back up my ladder and I said, look, are we going to do business or not? Am I going to take this down, or what are we doing here? And he said, oh, no, well, actually, I kind of like the blue now. So if you can give me a discount. And I said, it's not what we agreed upon. Yeah. He was really trying it on, and I was only young.
Yeah.
I said, look, I'm going to take it down. I'm going to go home. Like, I'll stand my ground. I've worked hard on this. And he goes, all right, I'll pay you for it. And I was just like, so that was an example of like doing business with people that, if it doesn't feel right, don't do it, just because it's a job and it pays. But then that was the precipice for the system that we implemented, that we ring clients and say, hey, were you happy with everything? And because if this guy, 10 years later, if a guy says, I'm not happy with the colour blue, you go, well, cool. So we proofed it, ... and we run through it. And if he's genuinely not happy, and I agree that there's a reason that it doesn't look good and he's not happy, we'll fix it. No questions asked. But if they're trying it on, it's a really fast way to, cut that out and also get paid. Simple. Yeah. So
I like it.
Yeah, it's great. And it works all day long. It works really well for us. So yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, well, thank you guys for your input tonight. That was good. I just always like to leave people with just thinking about, have you thanked your customers this year? What are you doing to reach out to them and ask them questions? For some people, this might be a very slow time. And
and Jerry, right now we could check on the welfare of people,
Yeah.
genuinely.
Yeah, that's right. Check it. Just that's it. Making phone calls and just saying, how are you doing? And this is a perfect time where, if your business has really slowed down, to be thinking outside the square of the ways that you can contact people, what you can be, what tips and tricks and things that you can be providing, complimentary or something for now, so that you're staying on top of mind for when you do reopen again. Like, let's say you're a reflexologist or something and you can't see your patients face to face at the moment, or foot to foot, hand to foot at the moment, or whatever. And what can you be doing so that as soon as they can book appointments again, that you are right there top of mind and they are ready to rebook. Getting them to.
It's actually interesting, Gary. I was a member of a gym years ago and stopped years ago. Haven't heard from them for years. All of a sudden, they're doing free online training.
Yeah.
I'm back on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it doesn't take much. Like we've got a lot of great clients that we work with, and we decided that we're going to just email out, especially some of our bigger clients, we've done some artwork with their branding. It's based on wash your hands and all about, COVID-19 and, how to work with it and deal with it. And we just emailed it around and we just said, look, we're happy to provide some free posters. We actually got a new printer and our supplier gave us a few rolls of poster paper. So, you know, for us to run off 10 posters for a big client for nothing, you know, probably costs, you know, $80, $100. But it's about adding value, especially in this time. We actually got a client who owns like 7 childcare centres and he owns a, you know, slew of businesses. He just said, cool, I'll take the 10. I need another 70. Invoice me for it. Gold, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he didn't even say how much. He just said, I know you look after me all day long. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know, so adding value now, even though it doesn't feel like it because like things are tight. What's the fastest way I could earn money? It's not about that. Just add value. And that'll lead into, you know, Sell Like Crazy. That's a presentation, you know, that I'm going to be on next week.
Yeah.
And it's about, it's a really good sort of segue from this, Jerry, into next week. Yeah. And like, you know, it's something I've developed and worked at, and it's got a lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight that you've put forward too. So yeah, it really sort of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Nice.
For some reason, even just pet groomers came up on some call I was on the other week, and they said, "Oh, pet groom is still open." I said, "Oh, I think they are." And then I saw my local pet groomer the other day is closed down, and I thought, you know, this is even a time for her where she could reach out to people and giving them tips on, you know, or making videos or something like that. This is how to give your dog a bit of a trim, and this is how to get their nails to be a bit shorter and less scratchy and things like that. These are the things that you can be doing until your dog can come back in for a proper groom or whatever it's called. So
that's
you know,
what people remember, right?
Yeah,
like it's not about that time that they didn't spend money with you when things are tight for you. It's about what you gave to them or added value to when things are tight. That's when they'll remember you. So when that next build or that bigger project or you know that next client comes along, they'll 9 times out of 10 remember you and spend with you because you added that value at a time where you didn't just ask for money or a sale.
And
oh, look, and I know in the can of worms right now, but you know what I'm doing and in my coaching and mentoring, and what my business partner and I are doing in our new service is a whole risk reward package. So you know, for those that want to, they can pay us more after they get their results.
That's
nice. Add value and help them get what they need to get.
I've also been offering, you know, some of my services for these struggling businesses too, and just say, look, you know, if you need to June to pay it, I'm fine with you doing that, you know. Then just offering those sort of options for people that have got less cash flow at the moment, but they really need help with their marketing, because it's amazing how many people have come out of the woodwork in the last couple of weeks and have said, Jerry, I need videos done. I'm like, really?
I can imagine. Yeah, it's like, whoa, all of a sudden we're busy. You should be busy. You know, you should be doing videos all year round. Not just in a pandemic.
Exactly.
That's a video there.
There's a video and everything.
I like it. I really like that. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, guys. And to anyone that has been watching us in Facebook land tonight, hopefully there's some of you that have been watching it. I, as usual, don't know what's happening on Facebook, so I just know that it is live. But we had lots of comments in there last week after last week's presentation with Amanda, so that was cool. That was really great. We had quite a lot of people watching on Facebook, so
brilliant.
So we look forward to your call next week, Luke.
I'm all revved up. I've got some, and these are real life examples of running, you know, a real time business now and here, and having to pivot and find different ways to sell. And that's me. I'm, you know, 7 generations of entrepreneurs, born and bred. It doesn't matter. I can sell snow to the Eskimos. So jump on next week and learn a lot. There's always a way. That's my motto at the moment. There's always a way. Stay positive and be part. You know, being part of a group like this as well really helps people. You know, think outside the box, see things they don't see normally. Be a part of a conversation and open up that dialogue that you know, really, you know, inspires them to have a look in different directions that they may not have seen before.
Yeah. Fabulous. And please invite your friends and colleagues into the All for One community as well. You can always just send them the bit.ly/all-for-one community as the link, and that will send them straight to the group. And we always have these calls at 8 o'clock on a Monday night, whether it feels like a Sunday night or not, like it does tonight.
A little bit, yeah, it does. Yeah, right.
And yeah, Luke,
always informative.
Yeah,
and depending on your sense of humour, sometimes fun.
Yeah, sometimes fun, and sometimes a bit rude. But luckily, we didn't hit record before we our conversation that we had on before we went live.
CMB action. I know. Jeez, we're lucky. We just got a moustache on a billboard.
Yeah, that's it. For those that miss it, just Google $5 note origami, and I'm sure you'll find something.
Yeah, no, it was a bit blue. It was a bit fruity. Just putting it out there, Jerry.
But it was quite royal and regal.
I don't know how the conversation. I started it. I think it was my fault.
There's the fun, right?
Yeah,
Therein lies the fun. So I put my finger there. Yeah, there's the fun.
Yeah. If anyone's walking down Eversham Road in Cheltenham, there's very interesting stuff coloured in on the sidewalk there. So that's what.
Bag of oranges, yeah.
Yeah, a bag of oranges.
Not walnuts.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, over and out, guys.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a bit slow. It's a bit hard on digital, right? Like, this ISO, I can't get my jokes across fast enough. Anyway.
Now, just one other thing, Luke. Right?
Yep.
You can aspire to Eskimos. Would you like to aspire to more?
Always. It was just off the cuff, mate. Yeah. Just
right.
Yes. That's a
you
yes.
Want to aspire to more?
Yeah.
Learn to sell the mice machines.
I like that. I like that.
That's the next level, mate, because there's always another level.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Well said.
Thank you.
Love it.
Wonderful catching up with you guys.
Yeah, you too.